Hello and welcome to the Weekly Reel presented by The Untitled Movie Pod, and I'm your host, Dusty Jones. Every week I like to bring you guys a movie that I recently saw, a movie you may not have heard of, something you may have seen on your Netflix queue or on Amazon, something like that, but you just kind of overlooked it because it's something you may not have heard of or just looked weird or, whatever. So this week we're going to talk about a movie that I kind of hinted at a couple weeks ago, but due to some issues I couldn't watch it in time to do the show. And so this week I'm bringing it back to you guys. If you had figured out the clues I had given you. So, The Bling Ring. Anybody know what this is? Anybody? You may have heard in the news several years ago about a group of teenagers who were basically breaking into A-list celebrities' houses and stealing stuff, and pretty much stupid enough to flaunt it to not only to their friends but on Facebook and other social media websites, and so their arrest became fairly easy at that point. But this movie is directed by Sofia Coppola, and I'm a huge fan of hers. Well, let me put it this way. I love Lost in Translation. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Has she yet to live up to that movie? No, not at all. But, I was still trying to dig into her catalog and figure out, is there something better or on equal level, or, where she is at this point in time. This movie is also distributed by none other than A24, which if you know anything about the last few months with this show or the Untitled Movie Pod, you'll know that A24 is kind of at the top of my list of film distributors, and usually what they put out I tend to like or respect or understand in some form or fashion, doing something that's beyond the mainstream, a little bit different. So let's just go ahead and dive into the trailer and go from there.
Girls, time for your Adderall.
You know.
It's my homie Mark.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Nikki. This is Sam.
Hi.
Oh my God, that's Paris Hilton. It's Kirsten Dunst. I just think we wanted to be a part of, the lifestyle that everybody kind of wants.
Hey, I can be the answer. I'm ready to dance when the band plays.
Paris Hilton's hosting a party in Vegas tonight.
Where does she live? Do you think we could find a way in?
I don't know.
Come on, let's go to Paris's. I want to rob.
I was in the 212 on the uptown angle.
Awesome.
You know what's up or don't
Oh
you?
my God!
I'm a rude bitch, nigga.
That's a cute dress. Did you get a new dress?
Mm-hmm.
We had so many beautiful things.
Oh, we'll break. I bet you want to.
Ladies?
He looks hot.
I hear helicopters.
We're in LA. Don't be such a little bitch. You're stressing me out.
Oh my God, are they gone?
Police are investigating the connection of the Hollywood Hills burglaries.
America has this sick fascination with a Bonnie and Clyde kind of thing.
It all comes back to, bad choices. Who you have as your friend.
You can't take her dog.
But he likes me.
I'm a firm believer in karma, and I think this situation is a huge learning lesson for me to grow and expand as a spiritual human being. I want to lead a country one day, for all I know.
Did you speak to any of the victims?
I've spoken to all the victims.
Really? What did Lindsay say?
So that was the trailer for Bling Ring. One last thing before we move into my my review of this film, let's check out the IMDb details. As you can see, it came out 2013. Right now, have a pretty low rating, 5.6. IMDb says, inspired by actual events, a group of fame-obsessed teenagers used the internet to track celebrities' whereabouts in order to rob their homes. And as I already mentioned, directed by Sofia Coppola, also listed as a writer on the film, even though there's not a whole lot of dialogue. our stars are Katie Chang, Israel Broussard, Emma Watson, Claire Julian, Taysa Farmiga, Georgia Rock, Leslie Mann, Carlos Miranda, Gavin Rosdale. Well, at that point, there are a lot of celebrity cameos in this film, so obviously that's why they're listed. Anything else really to mention here? It came out 2013. Budget 15 million. I hope not. That's insane. Grossed 5 million in the U.S. Yeah, not really much else to look at there. So let's talk about this film. As I said before, I'm a huge fan of Lost in Translation, which was written by Sofia Coppola. Love that movie. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time. I do believe it's up there. This movie, on the other hand, I'm not sure really what Sofia was going for. I don't know if her intent was basically just to deliver the vapid nature of celebrity culture at this point. Not just celebrities, but teenagers and popular culture. And I mean, if you know me on a personal level, you know that this type of stuff just really makes me want to vomit. But I wanted to check out this movie, one, because of Sofia Coppola, two, because of A24. But the movie itself is, there's just not, I mean, there's really no plot. There's nobody really learns anything or changes. It's almost like, even though it's not given to you as a documentary, it almost is that, because you really don't get any kind of, there's really no dialogue between our characters. Like, you understand that the male character in this film is kind of, I mean, he even says it himself in one of the interviews that he was basically in love with the ringleader, the Asian ringleader. But they never have any kind of, I mean, there's almost no substantial dialogue here, and there's no arc. I mean, other than you know, they start by just opening car doors, and then it leads into a house, and then they start doing these houses, and then they get found out. But like, there's no emotion. There's no like, you really don't, I mean, there's hardly any interpersonal connectivity between these people. I mean, they're represented as vapid as I'm sure their real life counterparts are. And is it a social commentary on just the state of things, how sad they are at this point, where, it's all about celebrities and about, do you have the right name brand of purse or shoes or, whatever. I mean, that's how it's basically just given to you like that. And there's no framework to this movie. There's no, like, you don't know what Sofia Coppola is trying to tell you. I mean, she doesn't give you a reason to like these people. They don't really give you a reason to completely hate them. I mean, outside of just being, straight up thieves. You can't really, I mean, I personally can't really relate to them too much. One, like I said, this type of culture just really irks the hell out of me, and I really don't like it. And it, like I said, it makes me want to vomit, basically. And of course, I didn't grow up in Hollywood or nothing like that, so I couldn't just go down the street and rob somebody, and I've never been one to rob anybody of anything. So, I mean, I really didn't have any connection to these people. Like, you really learn nothing about them. I mean, you're just like this, the camera's a fly on the wall while they do what they do. Like, the scene starts with them, oh, so-and-so is going to be out of town, and so where do they live? So look up where they live. Okay, let's go rob them. They rob them, and then they go to the club, and then after the club, the next day happens, or I mean, there's a sense of a passage of time. Well, I mean, time is passing because the movie is framed with, a year ago when they started out to when they got busted. So I mean, it's not like they're robbing every day, and so you really get no progression. There's just nothing there. It's I mean, it's a real shame. There's another version of this film, like not by the same people or anything like that. But there's a direct to TV. I think it was a Lifetime movie or something like that. It conquers, goes over the same content. I'm kind of curious as to how they portray it. If it's any better. I mean, because there's all this. I mean, this would be way more interesting if I knew anything about these people. Outside of the male character thinks he's not that great looking, and why he gets picked up by these fairly good looking girls, and then all of a sudden they become a team, and which there's no team where, like, it's called the Bling Ring, as if there's a big overarching structure to this whole thing, but it's not. I mean, it's literally by the seat of their pants. We're gonna go rob so and so, and we go do it. I mean, there's no. I mean, one, I'm not rich. Two, I'm not famous. Three, I'm not. I'm not. I don't have nearly the amount of junk that these people have. But I actually live in a fenced-in community with surveillance, and the doors are always locked. Of course, I live in a bad part of town, but it's mind-blowing how you can live in these huge houses with all this money and stuff laying around, and literally your keys under the mat, that sort of thing, and your house is just go on the internet, look it up, because I mean, these people have to live with the paparazzi and also insane fans and all that kind of stuff, and really you just hop the fence and you're in. I mean, that it says based on actual events. Hopefully, one of two things. One, hopefully it wasn't that easy. Two, if it was, I hope they've changed. Like, hopefully they have some sense of security. I mean, that just makes no sense. Nothing about this movie makes sense to me personally. And it's just a highlight of how just totally empty and vapid and just removed of any kind of self-understanding or anything. I mean, really, this movie, I don't know what to say about this movie other than it is pretty terrible. Like, I don't want to say the movie's terrible, because I mean, it's shot well, it looks good, the people, I mean, they act fairly well in it. I mean, they portray these freaking morons living their lives, doing stupid things pretty well. It's just, we're not given anything. Like, we're not, like I said, I don't care about these characters. They don't have any kind of conversation outside of, look up where they live, let's go steal stuff, and that, I mean, that's basically it. There's no, or, does this look cute on me? Does my butt look good? Does, try this or try that, that kind of thing. I mean, that's why I said the fact that there was writers involved is insane to me. Like, these people could have just showed up and just, Sofia Coppola could have said, all right, do what you normally do. All right, that's the end of it. So, here's A to B. That's all you got to do. Say whatever you want. I don't care. And then they cut in stuff from TMZ and different paparazzi shots, and I'd like to think it's not just a subject irking me about this film, because they're just, I mean, there's really nothing there. I mean, there's just no, I mean, nobody learns anything really. There's no, nobody really changes. These are all just really jerk off people that I really couldn't care less what happened to them, basically. And then the way it ends with her talking to the camera, you can keep up with my blah 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 whatever. It's just I don't want to say, like I said, I don't want to say it was a terrible movie. It was shot and performed well, but at the end of the day, there was just no content. Basically, there was no content to this film, and I don't want to say I would give up on Sofia Coppola. I mean, hopefully she can bring us something else, like Lost in Translation. But as it stands right now, I really don't see it happening, unfortunately, because I love that movie and it just did so much. I mean, it really affected me in a lot of ways, and I just would like to hear that voice again. That's the thing about this movie. There's no voice. There's no direction. There's no. I mean, it's just. Like I said, it could have just been a freaking... They might as well turn it into one of these kind of found film things where it could have all just been shot by them. Like using their cell phones and just a collage of their pictures and all that stuff could have told the exact same story. I mean, you wouldn't even had to have gotten out all the fancy cameras and lighting and all that stuff to make it look good. You could have just, like I said, just shot on a freaking cell phone. I mean, if they would have shot themselves, at least you could have been. At least it would have felt more personal versus from a framed, like I'm sitting outside the. Like I feel like I'm not even in there. Like I feel like I'm just watching these pretty people do stupid stuff. Whereas I think if it was shot on cell phones and all that kind of stuff, I think at least we would have felt a part of it, and been on the inside and maybe had more care, more more sense of tension. I mean something. I mean I didn't feel anything outside of just my anger towards how dumb this culture is at this point. As much as I love films and to think that the films almost rely on this stupidity, it just drives me nuts. So yeah, if you want to see it, it's on Amazon. Well, yeah, it's on VOD everywhere. I think it's part of Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can check it out there. But like I said, I really don't recommend it by any means. Really for anything. Even if you're a Sofia Coppola fan, there's no reason to bother. From a cinematography point of view, not really. I mean, it doesn't do anything too spectacular. I mean, there's better looking movies with better plot out there, so why waste your time here? So yeah, and there's and the music too. It's just it just plays into the culture of excess and just I hate it. I hate it so bad. So yeah, I finally got around to seeing it, and unfortunately, this is going to be one of the X's on the A24 lineup, and that's all I can really say about that. So that'll do it for me this week. Let's check out some stuff real quick. If you like the show or some of our other stuff, head over to www.theuntitledmoviepod.com. There you can check out, keep up to date on our different shows and see when they're released and download them, stream them, RSS, all that good stuff's there. If you have any comments or feedback, film suggestions, any of that kind of stuff, send it to theuntitledmoviepod@gmail.com. If you want to help us out, head over to facebook.com/theuntitledmoviepod. Please, please, please like the page. But not only that, share the content out to your friends so that we can grow this community and have a bigger conversation about film and TV and all that good stuff. And if you want to go that extra step, that extra mile, and really help us out, head over to patreon.com/TheUntitledMoviePod and give us a little donation there. And a small $5 donation will get you a shout out on the show of your choosing. So just let us know when you do that, and you'll get that shout out. And that's going to do it for me this week. I am Dusty Jones from The Untitled Movie Pod. And this was the Bling Ring. And don't watch it. Simple as that. Don't watch it. See you guys next week. Love you.